Oh, g'day. Just checking out the atmosphere. In the old ways, remember? Look at those clouds up there. Look at all that water. All those tons of water. If you've got 1,000 millimeters of water, that weighs 1,000 grams. 1 litre of water weighs a kilo. All that weight suspended above our heads. Now, how is that possible? That's not actually possible. How is it possible? Well, it seems to be possible due to electromagnetism. Everything that has mass has got a magnetic field, you see. Electromagnetic field. Any individual thing in this great cosmos that has mass at all, it's got a magnetic field around it, which is an electromagnetic field. And then it's got atoms that have valence shells, that have protons, electrons, neutrons, so they're positive or they're negative or neutral. And then you got all these subatomic particles that pop in and out of existence. And then you got all these scientists sitting there watching them going, where did they go? And then they're back again. And they pop out of existence, where'd they go? And then they come back again. And they pop out of existence, where'd they go? And they come back again. So you got all that going on, and where are they going? I mean, what's giving them that energy to go somewhere else? What's going on with that? Who knows? But, there's a lot of energy there. Is that electromagnetic energy? Just look at the way these trees are blowing and there's wind. What's making that wind go? You see, you get high pressure. It flows to low pressure, right? And it turns to clouds and precipitation along the way. And then it can be seen in the beautiful movement of these trees here. Which, by the way, look how that green there coming off those trees. That's very healthy for your eyes to look at, you see, because it's reflecting the sunlight. So that light there from the sun, where's the sun behind me? Can't see. There's the sun. See that light there from the sun is reflecting off the trees, and that green is one of the healthiest things that your eyes could possibly look at. Except for this beautiful face, I suppose. But either way, even that's healthy. Even that is healthy. See, a new life, all this new life, because it's coming into springtime here, is healthy. It gives you a new life. But anyway, where am I going with all of this? What am I saying all this stuff for? Why am I taking your time today? What am I going on about? The weather and electromagnetic coupling and everything being interconnected in micro scale and macro scale, electromagnetic, geomagnetic coupling throughout everything that goes through the universe. Well, funny you should ask. I'm glad you did. Because, hang on, bloody plane coming over, I'll just press pause. I do apologise about having a bit of a disjointed kind of thing where you get something like this with my press. And then I'm here, you see how there's a bit of a change, the kind of glitch thing. I do apologise about having in that. But when I find myself in the flight path, it seems to be all over this place now. Even to be out of mobile phone reception a long way away from anywhere, and you still find yourself in these flight paths or these jets. Never used to be like that. Anyway, we've been having a lot of interesting radiation come to the planet recently. From that big, bright, beautiful sun or star right there. And I've sort of hypothesised that a lot of that water up there, when we get these clouds sort of form, we're getting a lot of new water to the planet, you see. That's what I hypothesise. Whenever you get a strong geomagnetic storm and you get a decent aurora borealis or a decent aurora australis, then there's a good chance that there's new water coming onto the planet, you see, because you get all this ionised hydrogen mixing with ionised oxygen. Now, is that ozone or is that something different? What's ionised oxygen? Is that ozone or is that something different? What's ionised hydrogen? See, something that's ionised is charged, either with positive or negative, right? Water's a polar substance because it's got both a positive and a negative pole. That's why the moon, with its electromagnetic coupling, not with its gravity, with its electromagnetic coupling. That's why it pulls the oceans around from one side of the planet and back to the other side. You see? Because polar substances are magnetic, you see? And everything's magnetic. Anything that is anything. If it's got physical mass, then it's got an electromagnetic field around it, you see. And, excuse me, walking around, just going to get out of this wind. What's causing the wind? You know, high pressure flows to low pressure, forms into clouds and precipitation along the way. Well, where does that high pressure come from? Well, it comes from what's called solar forcing, you see. And so what that means, basically, is whatever's going on with the sun is forcing something to happen here on Earth. And so we get these spiral helix kind of flows, right? And then that reflects here on the sun, and also reflects in our brains. We get these spiral helix kind of flows, you see. The same as a cyclone, same as a tornado, right? That's how things work. That's how things move, right? Same shape as our galaxy. We're in a spiral galaxy, aren't we? That's pretty much common knowledge to everyone, isn't it? Right, so basically what I'm getting at is that there's been some very interesting activity, which we've got all the technology now to be able to see that activity coming from the sun. And then we can see the geomagnetic coupling effects here that occur on Earth. And there's a lot of peer-reviewed academic papers out there talking about the effects that the radiation, or the geomagnetic coupling, or the natural electromagnetic radiation and the coupling, which is also what they're sort of alluding, trying to find is what's dark matter, cold matter, antimatter, etc. All these things that we can't explain, but we allude, they're kind of there. Well, what do you got when you got electricity? Think of three-phase power, right? You got a positive, negative, and a 0 point. So if you want to do some welding, or you want to run decent equipment, then you need to have a constant positive at 50 hertz a second, a constant negative at 50 hertz a second, and a constant 0 at 50 hertz a second. So that's three things. So what do you got? We got what we can see, what we can't see, and something else. You know, and so we're attributing all this stuff to gravity that just doesn't make sense. If gravity did all the things that we say gravity did, then coronal mass ejections would never leave the sun, and spacecraft would never be able to leave Earth. So there's something else going on that holds everything in place, you see. And holds us in place. It holds us down on the ground. See, we're on the ground, right? So we're actually on the outside right now, you see. We're on the outside of the ground, facing outward up there. So that's not actually down. It's the side, it's the outside. Right, so I'm actually upside down right now because I'm in Australia. In southeastern Queensland, right? So I'm actually on the bottom part. Well, it depends which way you're looking at it, doesn't it? And this is what I'm getting at, or how are we looking at everything in life? How much control do we have over everything? Because we see it this way. That's how it is. That's how we know it to be. So it is that way. Everything is as it seems to be. Everything seems to be a certain way. So therefore it is as it seems until new information comes to light and shows us that it's not what it seems, and we actually don't really know that much at all. And we're not really in control of very much at all, even though we keep telling ourselves that we are. Myself included, you know. And the mind is a wonderful slave but a terrible master. This old Sadhguru says that. So what does that mean? Well, it means that your mind is out of control. It's like the horses are controlling the carriage, so to speak. And that doesn't work, does it? You can't have the horses pulling the carriage and controlling, because they'll just go wherever they want to go. And then if you have 6 horses, and you can say that's 6 senses, and they're pulling you all in different directions, right? So if that's the mind, and that's not a very good master. But just like those horses, if you can get them under control and you can harness them, and you can work with them gently, gently, gently. You can't force it, can you? You've got to work with it gently, right? then you can make those horses to be wonderful slaves or wonderful servants. So that's basically your mind as well, right? So I put that in there as a context that we are not in control of very much in our lives at all. We think we are, but we're not. We don't really know very much either. We think we do, but we don't. We can't really feel that much either. We think we can, but we can't. We're not very connected either. We think we are, but we're not. We're not really empathic or compassionate, considerate, or able to understand anything past the noise in our own heads. We think we are, but we're not. You look at it, practically, we don't actually have the capacity. It seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. You know, got these pressures of society and life, the economy, responsibilities, voodoo economics, it seems. Doesn't matter how hard people work or how much they got, they're still struggling. Don't have enough, and the ones that do have enough, they're miserable. Everyone else who doesn't have enough, they're working hard and they're just trying hard, they're defeated, but they're still trying. And the ones that do have enough, then they're miserable. It's like, why you even bother taking another breath? Well, remember why we take another breath. Because we're all in this together. We are love, we are God, we are all of that. You know, but now all of that building up, right? So these are all this human stuff that we got going on in this fast-paced, civilized technological world of capitalism, democratic capitalism on a global scale, right? So what's that doing for our health? What's that doing for our mind, etc., etc., etc.? And if you think about it, time is actually speeding up. I can prove to you time is speeding up because we're measuring it. So we're about 12 hundredths of a second faster than we were last year, which is about 8 hundredths of a second faster than it was the year before, which was about 12 hundredths of a second faster than the year before that. So what's going on there? How come it's not, you know, like why is it going faster than a little bit slower than faster? Either way, time is speeding up, and then we beat these records by about 1 hundredths of a second over, I think it's every few months. It might be a quarterly or 4-month measuring period. It's probably quarterly. I can't remember that exactly, so please don't quote me on that, but time is speeding up. As we're gaining mass from supercharged radioactive particles that are coming from outside the planet, either from the sun or outside the solar system. As it comes through, some of them are going through us and through the planet and out the other side and keep going out in space elsewhere. Some are staying in us and some are staying in the planet, both supercharging the planet, making us more electrically active, right? But also increasing our mass. So making us have more of an electromagnetic field, but also making us spin faster. Yeah, spin faster. Plus, also, so what we're going on about, the reason why I'm making this video after going on with all this other stuff, basically, is to say that pretty much all of us are in a state right now of having difficulty trying to work out whether we're Arthur, Martha, coming, going, or already been. That's hard enough in itself. Then we've got to work out where we're going, if we're able to go anywhere. And if we're not, then we've got to come to terms with the fact that we are not in control of very much at all. And we don't know what's going on, and the uncertainty is the thing that is life, but we think that we're not uncertain and we know stuff and all this kind of stuff, and then this means something to us, that doesn't mean something to us, this means more to us, that's secondary, but that means more to someone else, and blah blah blah, all of this stuff and all this drama, and then you can't remember. I mean, I got Zena the dog there, and I can't remember, like I don't know if I wormed her. I think I may have wormed her, right, yesterday, and then literally like seconds later, like 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 seconds later, am unable to remember whether I just wormed her or not. And then have this kind of deja vu when I go and worm her again. Like, I just did this, but I don't know if I just did this or not. Now, I don't get like that, see? I'm pretty sharp. I meditate a lot. I practice kung fu. Like that, right? And that keeps me sharp. It keeps my mind sharp. Look how sharp that is. 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 Right? And sharp. Was that sharp to you? Did that look sharp? Right, so my mind's sharp like that. I practice a lot keeping my mind sharp. I keep myself tough and sharp and ready to go. I'm ready to go. You know, I'm ready to go. Sharp. I know what's going on. Situational awareness. You know, who am I? Where am I? What am I? Whatever I am, I'm right here. Meditatively doing this task with full focus, full sincerity, full presence, full clarity, full embodiment. Well, as best I can anyway. And then with all of that, as you might have already observed yourself, that I'm a bit of a snag, yeah? A bit of a sensitive new age guy. But, you know, I'm sensitive. You know what I'm saying? I've got no worries saying I'm sensitive. You know, because I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive. Tough. Sensitive. I'm sensitive, but I'm tough, you know, so I can be sensitive. I can afford to be sensitive. You know why? Because I'm tough. Enough to be sensitive anyway. You gotta be tough if you want to live on this continent. If you want to walk on this continent, you gotta be tough. Right? You gotta be resilient. You gotta be able to adapt. You gotta be able to surrender. So I've got enough behind me to, what I'm trying to get across to you is that I've practiced enough. I've achieved enough in my life. I've become accomplished enough in some things that I got control over this thing here and my entire body and my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, emotions, and my coordination. And then that exudes out of me, and I have a calming effect on other people and environments and atmospheres and groups, etc. like that. I could just think a few thoughts and I can calm a whole room down sometimes. If I'm not centered, if I'm stressed out and not centered and distracted and stuff, then everything around me and everyone else around me is absolute chaos, you see. So anyway, I find myself in a situation of not being able to remember whether I had just shoved a tablet down Zena's throat. And so I'll have to do it again and do all this stressful calculation, not giving it too much or anything. And then I'm holding her and I'm sort of feeling stressed like deja vu, like I just did this, but I don't know if I just did it or not. How the hell did that happen? How can that happen? That doesn't happen. I don't get like that, you see? So that's really concerning, really stressing me right out. So in that moment, the stress response was literally that I myself became one of those people that doesn't know whether he's Arthur, Martha, coming, going, already been, here, or going somewhere else, or where he's going and what he's doing. And that in itself became a real stress to me. I was suddenly really stressed out, you see. Real stressed out. And that displaced me. Jeez, whoa, what am I not in control of? What have I missed? What don't I know what's going on? Gee, that's pretty scary. It's scary. What else have I missed? What else am I likely to forget? Did I just go to the toilet and then forget that I went to the toilet and I want to go back and go to the toilet and I'm sitting there and I can't go to the toilet? Well, actually, I don't ever sit on the toilet. Don't ever sit on the toilet. That's not good. If you want to go to the toilet, get in a stance like this, right? So stand up straight and then you get down in the horse stance, mother horse stance. So you get down like here, so you like that, and then you lower yourself down to here. And this is where now you're supporting everything. You've got all your core muscles. They're controlling yourself, right? So that's how you can do a healthy passing of a stool. Now, if you can't do that, if you insist and you must sit down on the toilet seat, then what you're going to have to do is get yourself down like that and then get yourself down into a curve like that. Right, so this is how you're supposed to do. This is how I do it out in the bush. Squat like this, which I recommend you do the same. It's much better for you. It keeps you young in the face as well, you see. It generates kidney union with feet flat on the ground. But if you must sit on the toilet, then you're disengaging your core muscles, you see, so it's going to make you weak and have prolapse, and you're not going to be able to withhold your ejaculation if you're a bloke, and you're going to take 4 times as long an orgasm if you're a woman. You know why? Because you don't have that nervous stimulation. Remember, electromagnetic energy going through all those nerves. So that's a bit of a digression. So find where I'm down in the squat here. If you're going to get into that position, you need to be squatted over like this. So basically you're sitting on the toilet and then you're leaning forward like that and you're hunched, basically. So it's much better if you get up here into that position there. That's quite sustainable for indoors in the civilized environment. Otherwise, get down here. Now, that's not really where I was going to go in this video, but it's all relevant because everything's tied in together. It's all relevant together, isn't it? So Basically, what I'm getting at. If you don't know whether you're Arthur, Martha, coming, going, already been, or something else, which is the paradox, so that's number one universal law, paradox, right? Then polarity, and then magnetism. So the paradox is not what you think, nor the opposite. And then once you polarize something, you decide, I'm going to be this, as much as you decide, I'm not going to be that, right? That's how it works. So when I decided to be a male, I decided not to be a female just as much as I decided to be a male. You see, it's polarity. Then once you polarize and you magnetize towards something, that's how creation occurs, and that's about as much control as you got. And if you think you got any more control of that, then you're kidding yourself. You're lying to yourself. And then anyone else that you try to express that lie that you're lying to yourself, then you're trying to enlist someone else in your lie, thinking that you have control over something and you know something that you don't. Now that's becoming particularly traumatic for some people right now, you see, because of the effect that's coming from that beautiful sun up there, right? And that's affecting us. That's making us mutate. That's making us evolve. That's making us grow. See, that's how evolution works. And that's why we've got this carbon dating goes back a long time. And we know this happened at this time, because it's all fact. We know because that's what the sun does, you see. It's radioactive isotopes that are held in the carbon atoms. You see, that's imprinted in carbon, or carbon molecules, you see. There's radioactive isotopes there because of solar activity, you see. So that makes us evolve. That also causes extinction events that we either evolve and transform and mutate and survive, or we die. You see? So we're being updated right now by the sun. What happens when you can't? What happens when you want to update your phone or your computer? You can't use it, can you? It needs to go into some stasis mode where it's unavailable and unusable, and it needs to be updated deep within, right? So that's software. So we're getting that. Plus, we're also getting upgraded, you see. You can't use your computer. If you want to upgrade the hard drive in the computer, or upgrade the RAM or something like that, or fix the BIOS in your computer, you can't use it while you're doing that, can you? It has to be switched off. Yeah, so we need to go into these deep sleep states, deep REM sleep, where the glial cells shrink to 1/5 of their size or 1/6 of their size, and get out of the way and let all the macrophages, cytokines, and etc. get in there and clean everything out and regenerate. And then we wake up again, and our glial cells then expand back out to the normal size. So it's the opposite of inflammation. When we hit ourselves, something like that, when we get this inflammation response, the first stage, right? That's the first stage of disease if it doesn't get switched off. But everything's expanding out, so it activates so that we can do what we want the cells to do, right? So the glial cells, when you go in deep REM sleep, well, they shrink down pretty much that same scale capacity of your ankle would swell up. If you're spraying your ankle, you know how big it swells up? Well, on that scale, if that's your glial cells, then they shrink back down that scale when you're in deep REM sleep to allow you to clean out, right? So that's what you need to be doing, especially more to deal with the radiation that comes from that, and particularly when it comes to a virus. What's a virus? Is a virus a toxin released from a cell that's been poisoned? So it's a result of something, or is it a cause of something? Or is it both? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the gravity or the electromagnetic coupling? Which came first, the cause or the response? No? Which came first? How does that all work? So anyway, we're being updated, being upgraded, and we're getting a hell of a lot of electromagnetic energy that's coming into our planet, that's affecting our planet's magnetic field, which is significantly weaker than what it's ever been for any of our lives. And they stopped updating it. Those that know and have the information, they stopped releasing that information to the rest of the world in 2014. So there's only very few people on the planet that know what the strength of Earth's magnetosphere is. So we're not being protected from radiation from the sun up there and from stuff from outside of the solar system. And that's affecting us. We don't know whether Arthur, Martha, coming, going, or already been. And the sad thing is that people get aggressive. They get real aggressive. And they get violent. For what? So you can prove that you're right. So you're more right than someone else. In your insanity. Self-affirmed insanity. Trying the same thing again and again, but pretending it's different, justifying why you contradicted yourself instead of stopping and going, oh yeah, you're right, I did just contradict myself. Oh, thanks for pointing that out. Instead of a fight about justifying why we contradict ourselves and then become violent, what's that going to achieve? What are we teaching everyone else? What are we teaching the next generation? All this kind of stuff, you know. This is what people do. Because that thing up there, they're so in control of their life that they're not in control of, and then something else throws them out. Oh, geez, I don't know. Did I just worm my dog twice? I can't deal with it. What else have I forgotten? What else did I miss? What else might I have missed? Did I just go to the toilet? Geez, I can't remember if I just went to the toilet or not. I better go back to the toilet. You know, we'll see. I'm sort of playing with that one, you know. It's a bit like, you know, if you ever had it like you left the house and then you go, oh, I can't remember if I turned the stove off. So you're going to go back to the house, right? And you go in and then you check the stove turned off, but you're so preoccupied, you leave the house again and you're like, oh, I can't remember if I turned the stove off. When I went back to check the stove, I was so preoccupied, I can't actually remember if I turned the stove off. So you're going to go back again. And check it. Yeah, of course the stove was off the first time anyway. And then by that time, then you go back out and you start your day. It's all good. But now it's starting to get to a point like if that happens twice, you're buggering. I'm not leaving the house. I'm going back to bed. If you get that, do it. If you've got animals around you and they're lazing around, they're going to sleep, and you go, I've got to go and do this now. I've got to get on with the day because it's daylight and everyone else is working. I've got to do this, got to achieve, blah, 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 blah. But the animals don't want to get up and get in the car. They're just going, no, I'm not doing that. Well, take a leaf out of their book. Lie down there, have a rest. Even 20 minutes, half an hour, make you feel a lot better. You see, this is what we need to do. We got this impulse radiation coming from the sun. Maybe we just need to check out for 20 minutes. And then check back in. Sometimes you need to go away in order to come back. But you can't go away or anywhere. You go away by going into yourself. And if you go into your heart, then you go into the heart of your heart, then to the heart of the heart of the heart, then you find yourself in the heart of the universe, the heart of the wheel of life, the heart of the wheel of karma. And that's where stillness lies, free from the centrifugal forces of life. And that's an ideal place for us to stay. And that's not the heart there, but it is the heart. But the heart is the center, you see. And that's the ideal place for us to stay. However, centrifugal forces of life throw us back out into the wheel of karma, into the wheel of life. And we can't really make much significant change out there because we're fighting against the flow. It's not until we come back to our heart that we can make any significant change. And us as human beings, we have the ability of reflection and introspection, so we can look at ourselves and we can change our lives in the real time. While like you sit thinking about your life before you go to sleep at night, you can change yourself and your life in real time. And then that changes the course of your life. So you go to sleep, you wake up the next morning, you live in a different life, right? We have that potential, that ability. We're driven by instinct, just the same as these dogs here. But then we have this ability to work with our instinct or to override our instinct. And it goes both ways. That's why a lot of people get killed, get murdered, because they go against their natural survival instincts for fear of offending someone or fear of appearing to be outside the social and morality norms, and they put themselves in a situation where they get raped and murdered, etc., etc., etc. So you don't want to be like that. But you do want to have control. It's a bit like not looking at a woman's chest, you see. Like women dress in a way that you can't help but notice. Can't help but see, but you don't look. See? You can't help but notice. And there's something wrong if you don't notice, and something wrong if you don't see, but you don't look. And that's what they're testing for, you see. The ones that have got control over their instincts, over those primal urges, so they can notice and appreciate, oh my goodness gracious me, but they don't look. Don't ever get caught looking. There's nothing that a woman hates more than being looked over, other than being overlooked. I don't know if that's a very good rule of life to live by, but it's true. Anyway, if you don't know whether you're Arthur, Martha, come and go, and already been, and you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, confused, you're agitated, and it's all about the quality of water in your body for the health, physical health. So go and drink a lot of good water. Don't drink the water out of the tap or filter it. You don't want all those fluoride and all those bad chemicals that they've been putting in it. It calcifies your pineal gland, makes you stupid, makes you docile, more malleable. You just do what you're told, you won't question it. And you'll be depressed and you won't be motivated to do something about yourself and your life. Right? And for yourself, clean your mind, meditate. Focus on the breath and respiration. Don't do anything about it. Observe self. Just be here and now. Just be here and now. If you're uncomfortable, be uncomfortable here and now. I'm here. I'm in pain. Throw yourself into something here. I'm working my body. Here, I'll throw myself into some I'm in a really uncomfortable position right now. Legs up in the air. Oh, well, you can see my leg. I'm in an uncomfortable position. I'll just stay here. Now it's hurting me. Cramping. I'll just stay here. Right? So I feel it. Here and now. That's what I'm practicing. I'm just going to stay like this for a while, so I'll leave you with that, eh? Cheerio.